All right, wow, I love this record. This is one of the most laid back records. Neil Young at number 28 on my fantasy playlist, and boy, it was a fantasy. Not necessarily top 40 fare, but what the heck, man. If I liked it, I threw it on my fantasy playlist. Neil Young with Harvest Moon at number 28, up from 31 the previous week. This on the week of January the 30th, 1993, from the critically acclaimed Harvest Moon. Or, well, the album was called Harvest Moon, a sequel to the Harvest album that came out back in 1972. And some of the same people who played in sessions on the Harvest album returned for an encore on Harvest Moon, including a fellow named Ben Keith. He played on the Harvest album. He was called in as a session musician on short notice by the producer of the album, Harvest, and he's played with Neil Young on a dozen of his albums and some of his live shows as well. Ben Keith. One thing about Ben Keith, he played on Patsy Cline's I Fall to Pieces back in 1961. This guy goes back a long way, Ben Keith. Some of the people who sang on this album, background vocals, all-star cast, Linda Ronstadt, James Taylor, as well as Nicolette Larson. But one thing that really comes out about this album, one of the people who played on this album, a legendary session musician named Spooner Oldham. Spooner Oldham, by 1992, he had been in the business for at least about 30, 35, 40 years. He played at Muscle Shoals at the Fame Studio at Muscle Shoals. He played the Weeping organ and When a Man Loves a Woman by Percy Sledge. And with Dan Penn, Spooner Oldham wrote Cry Like a Baby, which was a huge hit by the Box Tops. It Tears Me Up by Percy Sledge, one of his great forgotten hits. And I'm Your Puppet by James and Bobby Purify, some great 60s soul. Spooner Oldham. But he migrated to Los Angeles, I believe, in the 70s, and he was in demand as a session musician. He plays on this album by Neil Young, just laid back. That's what I liked about this record. It was just calm and relaxing. It just made me feel good. MTV played the hell out of this video late at night. Harvest Moon by Neil Young at number 28.